Okay. So I fell in love with the work of Bev Joswack. And she was supposed to be our workshop instructor in 2017. And we all know what happened in 2017. So then and she lives in the west coast of the Pacific Northwest. So few of my students and I found the last time she came east, and we went to Cheap Joe's in 19 and took her class. And it was, I think, for me, it was life changing. And I'm really bummed that we have gone after her like over and over and over. Every incoming vice president says, "Can you ask Bev?" And I'm like, "Okay." Bev's sick of Mike sending the email or calling her and saying, "Will you?" And she's like, "No." So she doesn't even teach online anymore. She doesn't do demos online. It's really annoying. But follow her on Facebook. She posts all the time. She does fabulous work. I've got her 2 books up here. I'm going to send around. This is what Stonehenge hot looks like. I want you to feel it and feel both sides. One side is a little slicker than the other. So, and if you want to look at her books, I mean, feel free. So I'm going to you can just pass that around. But feel how slick it is. It is, yeah, it is like painting on Yupo, only it's paper. I do not like 140 hot Arches Fabriano or anything. The only thing I will do 140 hot is Stonehenge. I don't know. It's just, it takes it a lot differently than the other ones. The other ones end up making you very tight. This makes you very loose. And then we have to thank Roberta Romeo, who talked me into doing, are we ready to see what I'm doing? Okay. This is what I got talked into doing. So I was like, really? But God bless Donna Morrison, who found a good picture of Joe, because I had a picture that was all pixelated, and I was like, ah. I started drawing it, and I'm like, I can't do this. So bear with me. This is not easy. All right. You can see my palette. I have a color addiction. And I did bring a can in case I really want to work something out. I'll use that. All right, brushes. I have my had forever Charles Reed Art Express brushes. I have them in all sizes. These are very stiff. They're Kolinsky's, but they're very stiff. They have a lot of structure to them. Then I have my 2, who they are, very floppy Jean Haynes brushes. These are also Kolinsky, nice and floppy. And then I've discovered these, and I always mispronounce his name. These are the Michael Solo. Yeah. You can buy these are goat hair, and these are calligraphy brushes. I have been looking for calligraphy brushes. I tell the story that we asked Kinko Tanabe, where did you get your wonderful calligraphy brush? And she said, I went into some store in China and I don't know where. And it was some guy. And we're like, well, that's really helpful. But these are, some guy. So these are really, this is the set that you can buy on Amazon for $124. I highly recommend it because they are really nice calligraphy brushes. Oh, there's 5 of them. These 5. I have a double. I have bought extras just because. Okay, so I am going to start with my floppy Jean Haynes, and I don't wet it. And I'm going to start. I've been through every raw sienna known to man. And this is May Marabou. I love May Marabou. And you can buy this in the trade show. It's the Italian brand. So I'm going to try and do this very alla prima. Usually I kind of layer, which doesn't really work with Stonehenge, but and I was looking for my opera and didn't really find it, so we'll just plop some opera in here. And opera and raw sienna make a very good um, um, flesh color. And well, still use some raw sienna up here. And then, and I did, okay, Stonehenge is extremely, extremely fragile. So if you're going to mask on Stonehenge, this is Aussie Red Gold from Daniel Smith. If you're going to mask on Stonehenge, let it dry, dry. And then this is Twin Burnt Scarlet. And as I said, I'm going to be very a la prima today. So this is probably going to scare some people. Let it dry till the next day. I mean, it needs to be dry, because the Stonehenge is so fragile that you will tear the surface of the painting if in the paper if you try and take it off when it's not dry. And so make sure it is dry, and then do not use your fingers. Use the masking thing, removal thing, and do it very lightly because Stonehenge will tear. The other thing about Stonehenge, if you tape it down, even using blue painter's tape, it will tear off the top of the. So if you're used to working on arches where, everything is very, very, you can beat the crap out of it, which I do. You can't do that on Stonehenge. Okay, this is Twin Burnt Orange. And I'm just trying to get some darks. And you can see it just puddles and pools and does goofy things. And let's get some verditer over here. I usually paint on the slick side to make it even more like painting on Yupo. And you can see it just kind of puddles and pools. And I usually paint upright, which is really crazy. So everything goes drip, 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 drip. I usually don't do this with the, I'm going to do that. And I'm going to do that. Yeah, that's better. Okay. I made marabou down here. Got my raw sienna, throw a little bit of opera on here. Let it blend around. I don't mix on my palette. Obviously, I don't have any space to mix on my palette. When I decide I need to mix, I will get out the plate or a tray, butcher tray. And this is Quin Coral. And you can see it'll all kind of bleed around after a while. I do pre-wet a lot, but I don't pre-wet this stuff. Because if I'm working on arches 300, I'd always pre-wet. If I'm working on this stuff, see how it's buckling around. Can you imagine what this would be like if I pre-wet it? And I'm painting very wet right now. Blue shop towels, get them at Home Depot. They're fabulous. You can reuse them once they dry out. They're great. Okay, and I'm just kind of saving my whites, sort of, kind of. Okay. All right, now let's get some color over here. For those of you who don't know, I teach at the old Hyde Park Art Center, and I teach beginning Monday nights and then intermediate on Tuesday afternoon, and my Tuesday afternoon class is Zoomed. So anybody who wants to join us, feel free. This is raw umber. I keep 3 different raw umbers in my palette because they're all different. This is a light raw umber, so it's either Holbein raw or Winsor Newton. And then the dark raw umber is a Daniel Smith. So here. And anybody who has any questions can just shout them out. Okay. Yeah, I teach on Zoom. So anybody who wants to join us, feel free. We started doing that on the pandemic, and I just, I end up with people who saw me during one of our one of the demos from back when we were doing online, and they started wanting to take. So I was like, what the heck? Okay, Rose of Ultramarine. We need some Rose of Ultramarine over here. And I do layer, basically, because I paint a lot on 300 hot, and that's very much layering. So when you're painting this wet, you just have to make sure you don't disturb the particles underneath. And you can see how wet it got, and it's going to be really wet. You say you're painting on 300 or 140 hot? I'm painting on 140. Our Stonehenge doesn't make 300. This is all they make. So right. This is Moonglow, one of my favorite colors. Stick it in here with our little bit of okay, let's get this up here. Oh, all right, well, that doesn't matter. Fran, when was the last time you bought some?
I just looked right now, it's on sale at $47 for 10 sheets, 22 by 30, hot press.
Online. Yeah, okay.
FWS 23 code at checkout, take a discount. Oh.
Yeah.
Do you find that the hot press better for painting specific types of subjects?
That's why I did my demo for this is Quinn Birth Scarlet, by the way. That's what I did on my demo, my online demo, which you can still watch online, I believe, on the FWS YouTube channel. I did the Thursday in February, and I did this guy twice. I did him on Arches 300 hot and Stonehenge 140 hot. And to show that you get different things when you paint, when you are painting on different substrates. So what you need to do is figure out what you want your thing to look like, and then go from there. Oh, I need to, there. That's looking pretty gross.
Better, like portraits are better for landscape, like we're not.
I know it's more like what do I want to achieve, and I go from there. So if I want to achieve a really loose things flowing around like this kind of deal where everything's kind of flowing all over the place, then it's I like the Stonehenge. If I want something that's a little bit more structured and layered, then I'll go with Arches, either hot or cold.
Okay, so what style?
It's what am I trying to get across, and what's the mood, and what am I doing? So, for example, I've got a painting that has a lot of stenciling on it. I don't know that I'd want to try that on this because it just would get too goopy and etc. Versus if I was trying to do this, okay, I'm going to put some mineral violet over here. We need to get some darks going. And can somebody give me like a 10-minute, or yeah, like a 20-minute and then a 10-minute of, because, this is looking pretty gross. All right. Well, God bless you. All right. I'm going to try and get some darks in here.
Do you want like more loose, flowy, drippy kind of style?
If it's flowy, drippy, if you want to try Yupo and you think, oh God, it's going to flop all over the place, and particularly since I paint up, I paint this way, and there's no way I can I've tried doing portraits in Yupo. It's really hard, really, 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 really hard. I don't recommend it. But I would do it on this. If I'm trying to be a lot more precise, then I'm gonna go more on my 140 or 300 arches. Okay.
So I was really confused about what exactly for.
Oh, well, see over there, you can see what I've been doing, and my class has been doing a lot of art of Stonehenge, kind of because I knew I was doing this, so I figured I'd better be in a Stonehenge kind of main. But this is mineral violet, and let's get some rose madder up here. Everybody has a ball at the end of their nose. So we're gonna take this around here, and then we're gonna just let this bleed around and flop around, and we'll come back to it later.
Kathy, do you find this a good service to watercolor wash?
Well, I wouldn't ink, but with a brush, not a pen. Only because this is so fragile that you would mark in it. You would tear it, yeah. Because when has the paper gone all the way around? Have you felt it? Has everybody felt it? Okay, keep sending it around if you would, please. Okay, this side of the room I don't think has touched it. And for those of you who've touched it, can you see all these things I'm telling you, why I'm telling you this? Because it's really, I mean, it does, don't get me wrong, I love it. I love, love, love it. I love it particularly because the last two paintings I got into FWS were on, so I really like it. But maybe felt tip pens would be fine. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Something that's soft. Something that's soft. Anything that's hard is going to be really difficult. Okay, this is Roosevelt and Marine.
So you don't want to use water.
You could, but you don't want to do it really. No, actually, one of my students who's not, Valerie's not in here, is she? Okay, Valerie has been using the Cretacolor pencils to do shading on Stonehenge, and she's been getting great results. So she draws with the Cretacolor. I went and in fact, the Cretacolor is for sale in the trade show. I bought some in the Sennelier booth. Been using the different because the package has different color, they're graphite, but they're water soluble graphite. So she's been using that to shade in, and then in landscapes, or we've been doing people scenes. So shade that in and then go from there. So I bought some. So I'm going to try that.
Small second, like a really small one.
Yeah.
And it's only like a couple of colors.
There's like 5 colors in it. Yeah. There's 5 colors in it, right, Valerie?
3 graphite and red and blue colors, and then the rest 3 shades of graphite.
Right.
I looked at it yesterday and I was trying to figure out what to do with it. Bigger sets, which maybe I like it. I use the Derwent pencils, and to be honest, I'm pretty heavy on them, so I don't think they're be a good match.
Yeah. I mean, but you could try. So you can see I'm dumping a bunch of color in there in his eye, and then I'm going to take this and go whoosh, and I'm going to take it and go whoosh, and whoosh, and whoosh, and whoosh, and whoosh, and around here and down here. There we go. Okay. And that was Rose of Ultramarine, Undersea Green, and some raw umber, I think. Some Daniel Smith raw umber. Stick a little bit darker in here. A little bit darker. And let it bleed down here like that. I like it because you can get this, and you have to watch your, don't touch it and make handprints. I do that all the time. Why I paint up, you can't do that as badly. Okay. Some eyebrows in here. Okay. See why I love this calligraphy brush? Isn't it wonderful? It's a lot easier to deal with and I can get these nice fine lines. All right, back to my Rose of Ultramarine. Bring this around here. Cobalt blue violet. In the middle here where I want the dark. Okay. A little bit of here. And undersea green. I always put a lot of colors in the eye just because it, I think, makes it come alive more. Okay, go take this around here, lose this corner, and get a lot more of our Rose of Ultramarine. And come in here, bring that up to get the shadow of the eye socket, get a little bit of the bridge of the nose, get some more raw umber in the eyebrow, and then there. Bring this around here like that. That's just too blotchy there. Okay. All right. This comes down here. There. A little bit more pigment over here. Here. And then bring this around like that. You can. I actually thought about doing all sorts of stuff, and I thought it'd be a bridge too far today. You know, there's, especially given what I signed up to do. If you look at Bev's book, she uses alcohol a lot. She uses salt a lot. She uses gesso in there a lot. We've done gesso, the gesso swan in our class. It's a lot of fun. All right, Janet's Rose. Janet's Rose. Rose of Ultramarine. In the dark corner here. there. A little bit of quin coral. Not too much because it'll go look like he has lipstick on, which is not a good idea. Quin burnt scar orange. Bring it around. Pull it down. A bit more quin burnt orange in there for the shadow shape there.
So it's not like people with the paint on top of it.
Oh yeah, it's paper. It's paper. So, you can layer it, especially if it's dry, and it's not like Yupo where it reactivates and just drives you Looney Tunes. Okay, I'm gonna don't. Did they?
They do. It's worse. They have a book, so it's in a book. Thank you.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't like Valerie, you had the pads and didn't like.
Well, I started with the cat, and this paper, so I didn't know any different. So I don't know. I'd rather just take and because it's close.
The problem with pads on anything is, it's just not the same.
Yeah.
I just don't like it as much. Get more shadow in here.
Kathy or Valerie, have you ever tried the cold press?
I did, and I sold all of my stash at the Bargain Bazaar.
Yeah.
When we went up to cheap to our class with Bev, they were out of hot, and I had gone up there with cold and I was dying. And then I got some cold hot and I was like, oh, okay, this is how it works. And life was good. Okay. What time is it? How are we doing?
31.
Oh, good. Okay. Luckily I paint fast. All right. Now for the fun part. I'm going to let this kind of flail around and dry and do something. All right. I'm going to take, this is the fun part where you just let it all flop around and do stuff. And I'm going to try and bring, that's Indian Throne. And mineral violet. And you just kind of let it bleed and let it flop around and take it over a little. Oh. Oh, oh, oh. Hold on. Why is it not? Come on. All right, come on. I'm going to show you how it wanders when it's wandering. Can you see that? Yeah. Okay. And this is the fun part where it just kind of does all that kind of Yupo stuff. And I want to lose this side a little bit. Get a little bit more. Oh, what was this? What's that? Oh, I know what that was. Okay. I don't think that was what I wanted. Oh, yes. Let's flop that in there. And just, I wanted to show you how this may not be the best background for this painting. I just wanted to see you to see how it kind of will all bleed around and do these fun. No, you're supposed to be wet. I just put you out. You're just being annoying.
Breakfast day, you can paint that?
You can. You'll see what I was doing earlier this week here, where I was hiding in my room trying to create something. And I did do the spray bottle thing, and it kind of did good stuff and kind of not. You have to watch it because, as I say, it's a really fragile paper. So you will end up, sometimes you will end up losing the surface a lot faster than, again, if you're used to working with arches, this is a lot more fragile. Let's just throw some of this down in here and just let it all do its random weird thing. Okay, let's take some of this here. This. Want this to be more of a light side. And I always have to stop myself. I always end up doing light, dark in the middle, and that's, don't do that. I want to bring this over this way. Find that area right there, and bring some purple over here. Bring some of my blues over here. And again, I'm more just showing you what to do rather than trying to create something really good at this point. Well, I don't know about that. You can see I keep my brush fairly dry while I'm doing this, but it still ends up being pretty darn wet. Okay. And you have to watch what's going to turn into mud. So just don't do, know what you're doing. Know what color, know your colors and know how your colors will play with other children. Because if they're not going to play well with other children, you'll end up with mud. Okay, now I can do and just let it bleed around. And you can uh, do too much of that. Okay. And you could calm it down too. If you decide it's too yucky, you could calm it down. But I wanted to show you how much you can get a really fun background, and you can then, after this, then you can go really dark in there. Like I could take some indanthrone over here and just really, get it dark if I want. And then get this side of his face darker. Do some sculpting. Some fast sculpting is what we need to do. Okay. Get a smaller brush. No. I always try and work with the biggest brush I can handle. This is turning really gross over here. Let's save that. Okay. Or not. Maybe we like that. The dripping around. It's kind of interesting. Okay. What? Sure. Like that. I would not get, okay, so if you're used to softening with your nice little Daniel Smith scrubber, that here. Don't do that here. Because again, your paper will just get, yeah, you will damage the surface. This is not arches. This is definitely not arches. Okay. This is mineral violet, by the way. Rose of ultramarine. Now I got to get these teeth kind of coming that way. Okay, there's a smile there. All right, let's play with that eye. So a little bit more rose of ultramarine here. There. But there. Get more darker in here, darker in here. Okay. Let's get that going. Ah. Kind of like all these colors here. They're not really doing much for the likeness, but I really like the colors blending around. Okay. Right, I got to get this darker down here. In here. So this has to be darker. This has to be darker. Luckily, you'll see that I have another version of this, so you're not going to be completely freaked out. I'm going to do the baker. Yes, through the magic of the oven and the food and everything else, I have a finished product that does not look like shit. It's what I've spent it's what I spent Thursday and Friday working on. Because I did, all right, don't forget the ear. I forgot the ear. Never forget ears. They don't make them look pasted on. It looks stupid. Like I just did. There, get that cheek in there. Oh, this is not looking hideous. Well, but that was a while ago. Then it looked like terrible. Okay, you got this coming in here, this coming here. It's much more, the one I'm going to show you is much more precise than this. This is pretty loose. Yeah, this is very loosey-goosey. Okay, you got the dark area in his ear. I'm going to get some orange I like the May Marabou Orange Lake. It's a really pretty color. See that? It's really pretty. I got to put it somewhere else because you can't just have one little bit. May Marabou Orange Lake. I forget who. Anybody remember who turned us on to May Marabou Orange Lake? It was one of the classes. Was it Linda Welcome?
Yeah.
Well, I think it was Linda. My students will tell you I constantly find colors and then they go, shit, she found a color. Okay. Oh, not okay. Let's kind of get this a little there. Okay. Yeah, I know. I went and got, oh, I was asking at the paint around and I went and ran out of the paint around and went and bought that Jane Brilliant number 1 and 2 by Holbein that Andy was using. So there you go. Oh, well, Jaune. Brilliant, yeah. Yeah. It's a yellow. Yeah, number 1 and 2. Yeah. And then somebody was using Holbein, and I thought I bought it, but I didn't. It's not here, so I got to run back there. The cobalt, because I've had horrible luck with cobalt, bright violet, and so I went and got that. Holbein, because usually it goes bye-bye on me, but I decided, well, what the hell, I'll try that. So this is my go-to light yellow is bismuth. And then I'm going to go to some new gamboge over here on the shadow side. And you're like, what is she doing? She just covered the apron length strap with yellow. She's crazy. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah. Because it's very slick. Yeah. It's very slick. And you can see I'm painting very wet down here. I'm just flopping and letting it bleed around. No more than it's your colors that stain, not your paint, not the subsurface. So, what do I want to do? I have a summary of the colors I use. And they're generally fairly standard except for a few weird ones. I mean, I kind of know what is going to go dark and light on me, sort of. Okay. Let's just give him an apron. Give him goes there, 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 there. Okay, this side of the face, it's got to go darker again. Still pretty wet. Let's see what we can do. Oh God, it's super wet. Well, we'll see. I just want to get this. Like really dark over here so that we can see that this is the shadow side. I lost my ear. Hopefully I found my ear. There. Okay, there's the ear. Let's get some, when in doubt, some thick verditer in here. Just which is more like gouache. And we can get it up in here too. Bit of. I don't generally work on this much fresh paint, so I'm usually like digging it out of my palette as opposed to having it like just really there. Okay, let's get some of that over here. So it's in down here and down here. Okay. All right. How are we doing time-wise? Okay. Give me a 5 minute and I'll show them the one that's actually done. As opposed to this mess that I'm trying to save and there. Oh, it's kind of going all over the place. Right. A little bit of more pink up here. It's way too bright. Let's leave this off. This needs to get cool, darker over here. And we can take this up a little bit in here. There. Okay. This needs to get darker, but it is so wet right now. If I put anything in there, it's just going to go. So let me just do some structure down here. Just so we're okay. Y'all are being very good to put up with this. As you can see, it is now so wet. There. Okay. This side needs to just, it's going to go, just let it all wander around and cool it off on this side. crazy. So, I want the side of it to be in the shadows. So we'll just shadow it down. And some of this. Oh boy, does it look bad.
I mean, let's think about the chip, put it down and leave it.
I have to leave it and just say, let it go, and then just, this is way too bright here, so let's just pick some of this up. Yeah. Okay. I'm going to stop this and show you like reality. Because this is so wet. Okay. I'd get out of the hair dryer. There we go. So that's where I got to, and it's a lot more under control. You can see I did get this side darker. I kept this side lighter. I repeated all my colors in there. I didn't get too distinct on my teeth. Questions? Yeah.
You keep comparing to UFO, does it keep up Wiggles fingerprint thing like UFO or any?
Not as bad as you put. No, no, no. You're gonna get greasy fingers on it.
On it when you're painting.
But it's gonna be no different than putting fingers on, arches or anything else. Yeah. Any other questions? Yeah. No, it's because it's paper. So this is dry as toast. So I could, like, I could do this. And as long as I'm not activating, if I'm not scrubbing, just like any other paper, and I'm not activating the paint below, it's going to behave just like you were painting on anything else. In fact, I think that helps it some, what I just did. Put a little bit of bismuth down here. There. Get a little of that. Be too much, but yeah, it did perk that side up a lot. In fact, let's a little bismuth down here. Yeah, needed to be perked up. And I can perk them up in here too. It's a little too perky. Okay. All right. A little bit over there, a little bit there. Get the shadow of the glasses. Never forget your glasses shadows. And I can get a little bit more distinctive on my highlights here. There. There. Um, there. Um, I take pictures of my paintings all the time. So I can remind myself when I get to that point where you took the picture and then you went too far and you look and you go back to where you took your picture before and go, oh, that was where I was supposed to stop. Just to remind yourself of that. Any other questions? All right.